my over-the-shoulder boulder holder because you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 9, Episode 6, The Butter Junk Effect. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That was really right on the mic, Tom.
And our guest today is comedian Sam D.
Well, hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Sam.
Hi.
Welcome to the Pod House. This one was weird.
Yeah?
I got lots of thoughts about this one.
I
thought you
dislike
might.
this whole episode except for the last part of it. Like
The last three lines.
no, just the whole from when Fry becomes into the cocoon to the end. That's the only part that I like.
No spoilers, Tom. Just weird. Everybody survived Halloween, I guess.
Yep.
And you lasted another trip around the sun,
Yes, it is my birthday today.
which will be
Happy
a couple
birthday.
weeks
Happy
ago.
birthday.
Which would be
Yeah.
like a month from now.
None of them are
Yeah,
going to
it
matter
was
for
my
another 9 years.
birthday 1 month ago.
Yeah, perfect.
But it is right now, as of when we're recording this, my birthday. Oh. And I'm old.
So, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my head back in the game. I had some news come in right before the show. Anyhow, what is your relationship with Futurama, Sam? It's a question we ask people periodically when we remember to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one where I have seen the same 5 episodes 1,000 times
Perfect.
and so rarely see one I haven't seen because I don't seek it out. I've only ever watched it because someone else had it on. I had old roommates who were really big fans. And actually, I took a screen cap because I once crocheted a bender for a friend's birthday.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to show you all. That's a little bender I made.
That's
Oh,
intense.
that's really good.
Wow.
Great. That's awesome.
I received a crocheted nibbler as a Christmas gift.
Really?
Complete with you could take the diaper off too. It's like a whole separate knitted thing.
Did it have knitted dark matter come out of it? Too?
No.
That would be funny.
That would have been the easiest part to make. Just ball up some black yarn and you're set to go. Yeah, that's probably a good approximation of mine. And anymore, I have to make an effort to do it because of this show, but even then it still feels like a chore sometimes. We're squeezing every last bit of enjoyment out of this show from all of us.
I'm a big cartoons fan, though. Like I love cartoons.
Well, that's
Yeah, I do too.
except for the logic. Fucking hate the cartoon.
I mean, no.
logic. I do.
Oh,
I
yeah,
hate
you
the
do.
cartoon
I
logic.
don't mind cartoon logic at all.
I guess the suspension of disbelief is a part and parcel of the whole thing, but
Is her mic cutting out?
yeah, I don't. Let me pause it a second here. I was really happy to see this start at Elzar's because there's always some kind of weird stuff happening there. But I've been really sort of the whole Fry and Leela thing this season has been very up and down and back and forth. Like it seems like sometimes they are literally totally together, other times they're not, and I don't know if it's just a production order thing or a broadcast order thing where it seems like completely out of sequence and made up and weird. So like the fact that they're all lovey-dovey and out with Kif and Amy seemed like a strange sort of curveball compared to the
I
last
think
few
the same thing
episodes.
kind of applies to Kif and Amy, too, because there are sometimes when Kif is just not in an episode for many, many episodes, and then all of a sudden they're like, my fun Roo.
But he's got dupe business to take care of. So I mean, that's at least like Fry and Leela are around each other all the time.
That's true.
Maybe they just hate each other sometimes. Like they get sick and I don't know. But the whole meow was fun.
Here's my theory, because
Yeah.
there's no overall story arc in this whole season, anything. There are just
nothing.
individual episodes.
Okay.
I think that the writers were just given episodes, topics to write about. They wrote about them, and then they all hashed together, and no one
Yeah.
had any idea what
Anyone else
order
was
they were
doing.
gonna
Yeah,
actually
and
air until the production. Like,
I guess
Makes
that
sense.
would depend on like whoever the head writer was for
I think-
whatever episode.
yeah, I think they just grabbed the
Yeah,
scripts.
that makes sense.
The scripts are probably done, and then they just grabbed them, and
Threw
that's
'em
how
in
they
Korea.
did. Yeah, so some of them involve Fry and Leela's in relationship, and some of them don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm pretty sure the episodes are in the same order, broadcast versus production. This is still just production season 7,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
broadcast
Okay.
season 9, because they make them all. I think that it even makes more sense with what Tommy was saying with the they were just given write 40 episodes and then they all are considered production season 7 and then
I mean, the overall arc of the whole series is Fry and Leela together. So, but there really hasn't been anything. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to go in there because I don't remember because the episodes that we've gone. So I'm never mind. I'm not going to talk in absolutes.
Right. I mean, it still seems like a back and forth thing, even though at some point it seemed like they established it. Regardless, the catty back and forth is fantastic. Certainly something I've observed out in the wild.
Just something girls do, something ladies do.
I know, and I mean, as sexist as it seems to say something like that, I mean, I've seen it enough to think it's a thing.
I feel like whenever women aren't being super nice to one another, the cat sound is made by men. But men razz each other so hard all the time, and there's never bark, bark. You're really being hard on Ted.
And that's certainly true. I mean, the ball busting thing happens all the time. The thing that I wonder about, and I'm going to go off into some of my college learning.
I'm taking communications right now, and the difference between communication between genders that they outline and everything.
Oh yeah,
we could go in depth on that.
So there's another thing, and I mean, I was reading about stuff like this 10, 15 years ago. So it's been a while, and I'm sure there's been more research. But one of the things that was interesting at one point when I was doing papers on this shit was when typically boys are raised with sort of athletics and competitions and things as part of that socialization. Not me. But whereas oftentimes traditionally girls were not. So then with the stuff that the boys got socialized in, it was you learn how to lose, you learn how to compete without it affecting your entire whole thing. Whereas without the construct of something where it's you win some, you lose some as part of your whatever, shit became a lot more cutthroat. So one of the things that they kind of applied this to was Chola gangs were way more fucking violent and than the male counterparts or whatever. Because when they got into fights, shit got fucking real. Now I'm extrapolating way the fuck off on this, but maybe that's part of it too. Whereas I think potentially with some of the ball busting, it's more ridiculous sort of stuff. Whereas with this, it was just Amy and Leo were joking about shit that was very close to home and very actual, which is sort of I think what brings out the cattier part of it. It's you wouldn't be geez, Tom, you got a giant nose. Yeah, or maybe you would because he doesn't, but I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore.
I had you, but then I just lost you.
Yeah, you should get that fucking checked out. It's huge.
Well, for me, a lot of Futurama is the comedy I find in it are the signs. And I always pause and stuff. For the restaurant, it was, today's special is Jar Jar Tartar. And I thought it was so funny. I paused it so many times. I find, and the same with The Simpsons, their gags on any sort of sign or written thing is always way better than a lot of the jokes in the show.
For sure. Yeah. It was really, I didn't even pay attention to that. Sometimes the density is so much that it's, you gotta let them go. But whenever there's a list of something or whatever, it's perfect. And it really doesn't have anything to do with who or who isn't a Chinese skank. Maybe one of my ex-wives, but that's a whole other story.
They go back to the moon.
They do. Mm-hmm. Well, and they have those giant moon rocks that they're those were huge. They were boulders.
Shipping them to the moon.
Yeah. As part of cultural reparations.
Yeah.
Which I love the fact that the hillbilly on the moon was just oh, you bought that?
What a bunch of big city dummies.
Yeah, with that cultural heritage hoo-ha. And then he called them nose breathers, which I also
Yeah.
I kind of want to bring that back.
I wrote down mostly the jokes that I liked. And one of them being when Bender was talking about the gravity on the moon and lifting things. He's it's like being lazy and working at the same time, like being a voice actor.
Wink.
I thought it was super cute.
It did get a little self-referential. Now, I couldn't remember. You mentioned this. I think in the intro, the over-the-shoulder boulder holder.
Yeah.
I wrote that one down.
Is that a reference to some kind of underwear contraption or something?
Yeah, that's what some people
brassiere.
refer to bras as over the
Boulder
shoulder
holders?
boulder holders.
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah.
In the movie Beaches,
Oh,
Bette
okay.
Midler has a whole song about the over-the-shoulder boulder holder.
Okay.
It's great.
Maybe I'm blissfully ignorant of Beaches. I hear
Oh,
it's
it is.
very sad.
I mean, I don't know why I know that, but I know that. Like,
It's common.
Not okay.
It's a common
I'm
saying.
not disbelieving anybody. I was like, is this like a plum smuggler or something? You know, like is that what we were talking about? But that's
I suppose.
that's beautiful.
I've never heard that one.
I was trying to figure out what butterfly derby would be. But the fact that it happened in the Monsanto Yokel Dome was perfect. And then it was like, oh, it's just going to be like a roller derby knockoff thing.
Another sign thing on that was kids drink free.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one too. That would make those so much better. I find roller
What if there were
derby,
drunk children at events?
Love a drunk kid.
I mean, it's like kids swearing. It's just about the same thing. Like they're also a lot more easy to control because they get like loosey goosey and you just swat them. But that was the thing. Like roller derby perplexes me some, and I like it. Like I enjoyed it when I've gone to see it, but it's sort of like. Yeah, there's the whole professional wrestling angle of the heels and the baby faces and like somebody's gonna win, but without necessarily. I assume it's not scripted. I don't think it is, but it's fucking brutal. Like it just seems really fucking dangerous, especially for me because I can't balance on anything besides my legs.
I mean, it definitely is brutal. I know. I mean,
Yeah.
people have definitely gotten hurt
yeah,
doing it, and people I know.
yeah.
I'm not going to knock anyone doing it, but I really want to see like the inclined roller derby because they do the flat roller derby.
Because you need to build an inclined track. Like
I know, but I want to see that.
yeah.
So somebody make that happen.
So more like was it rollerball or death race or something? What's the one?
Rollerball. Rollerball?
Isn't the movie like
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have
Tron?
no idea what you're talking about.
There was a movie in the 70s that was like futuristic roller derby called Rollerball.
Sounds awesome.
They remade it.
Then they
in
remade it,
like
LL
early
Cool J's
2000s.
in that. Yeah. So it's like roller derby, but you die because you've got weapons and armor.
Wasn't there another roller derby movie called Whip It?
Yes, there was.
Yeah,
With
but that
Ellen
was
Page and was it Drew Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore directed it. It was
she was
grounded
in
in
it,
reality.
though.
Yeah.
But she's cameoing in it. Like I think they got
She's
the
not going to
attention
stay
'cause she's-
behind the camera.
Speaking of cartoons, though, there's
Drew Barrymore.
an American Dad episode involving the roller derby, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, like Burning River Roller Girls, or actually it's Burning River Roller Derby now because it's become more inclusive. But like they helped us make a video once. It was fantastic. Great people, very wonderful to work with, and like I the athleticism that goes into it is just like it blows me away. I just wouldn't want to do anything where it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get destroyed. Like
Yeah, I have a coworker. I don't work with her anymore, but she was at one point a roller derby girl, and she had like a broken leg at one time, probably a broken hip. Like she had some issues and multiple concussions. Like they just don't really give a shit. They
And
just break themselves.
it's
until
not
they
even
can't
like
play
1960s NFL where they made like $30,000 a year. Like they're paying money to do it. And it's like,
anymore. Yeah.
if I wanted to pay someone to beat me up, I just to get married again or something.
You got to pay to express female rage these days.
I mean, you're going to pay one way or another.
But make sure you have health insurance
Yes.
before you do it.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's not the case for everybody. It's just
No,
it's
it
a
isn't.
scary thing. But yeah, just the whole thing. I mean, it seemed a little weird beyond that. Like the fact that they just come out and it's like the murder flies and they basically just had to beat each other until they get to the floor. But the fact that you could destroy the other team's wings and shit just seemed completely insane to me. But like, see that there? That's called the floor. You just gotta keep off it, or what is like whoever hits it is like loses, or he follows it up with something.
Do you think you can actually do that on the moon with wings?
No, I mean, you're 1/6 of your gravity on the moon. So you're still not, like, buoyant. You can jump real high, but there's also no atmosphere to, like, flap against.
Yeah, that's true.
know? But you could have, like, jetpack derby.
I don't think you could go very fast. You would just...
That's why you need a jetpack.
You could have solace knowing you can dunk on the moon.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot.
Yeah, but you could make the hoops like 20
I mean,
feet
I
high.
probably still can't.
Is that what Space Jam's about? Just playing basketball on the moon, or is it just in space in general?
No, the
put
basketball players
components
are
are
from
from
space.
space.
Oh.
They come.
they want-
They're aliens, and they come.
and they're
they,
trying to take the Looney Tunes to entertain the children of their planet.
I completely misunderstood the plot of that
Because
movie.
they run a theme park that's evil.
I
It's
kinda-
a really good plot.
On today's episode of Ask the Millennials, we talk about Space Jam.
Oh, I have a lot of opinions
We
on
millennial splain Space Jam repeat.
It's going to turn into OK, Xer. I mean, then it like, there was the line where he's like, keep your eye on the ground. That's where she's going to land. You just hear like the thud.
Yep, called it.
But the fact that the winners get $50 and the accolades of hooting hillbillies, which is, I mean, that's kind of like a lot of things anymore. It's basically professional jackass.
I mean, that's how you get the president. I mean,
God, I know. You took it there this time instead of me. So that's something we can cross off the list for this episode. We have a checklist of things that have to happen that we don't want to.
if you're playing bingo,
Yeah,
while listening,
playing the Slurmcast drinking game. Fucking somebody shit on the shitty president at how many minutes in? 16. Perfect. But Leela and Amy volunteering for like the amateur hour thing was just like, all right, how's this gonna work? And again, like you're just anticipating them getting the shit kicked out of them. But Leela's like really competent. Now I guess the fact that they're up against these juiced up murder flies, very unoriginal name, by the way.
But they're the meanest things on Gossamer Wings. I thought that was cute.
I mean, that seems like something somebody would embroider into a little like a wall plaque.
Yeah.
You know, do a cross stitch of that.
I've got a question. Did that actually happen, like at events in real life, where they would do like pick people from the crowd to compete in a event?
I'm sure it did. I'm sure
Because it's like a comedic trope that they use, and it happened a lot. Like
I mean,
I remember a lot in the early '90s.
I suspect
did it,
in
but-
the old timey wrestling circuit, absolutely. But at those were probably plants as well. You know, when you had like the wrestling shows that would travel from town to town in a region. But like that was Andy Kaufman doing the trolling with like women. Be like, I'd take any of you women out of here to, you know, whatever.
That's what Spider-Man did in the first Spider-Man movie.
I know, right?
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie.
They didn't anticipate that he could like, you know, jump real high and climb up walls and shit. He showed them. Fucking knocked Bruce Campbell's socks off.
I wish I could do that someday.
Knock off Bruce Campbell's socks.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
But not in the way that you're thinking.
I bet
In any way you're thinking.
I bet if you just asked him nice, he'd be pretty obliging.
He's a happily married man.
Yeah.
But,
my
but
wife.
does foot stuff count as cheating?
Oh, God.
My wife batted her eyes, and he ended up personalizing an autograph when he said he wouldn't do it. So
Wow.
He didn't
just
personalize my thing, but he made a comment about it, and because I had I'm totally blanking on the character's name. It was a Funko Pop that it wasn't him, but it was another character. I had two other characters from the Ash versus Evil Dead TV show that I asked him to sign because, well, first they said he's not signing anything, and then that day they said he'll sign
Was
two
it
things.
his hail to the chin thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that too.
Yeah. But yeah, he made a comment about how, like, oh, they didn't have any Ash dolls. And I was like, nope, sold out.
Yeah,
I
all
don't know.
sold out, dude.
Yeah.
You're getting the licensing money, right? It's your likeness.
Yeah.
So what was it? They tried and then they failed because they this auto-corrected into gibberish. And we failed because we accidentally kicked those two rocketed to death.
The Rockettes.
Yes.
They tried out for the
that's
Rockettes.
right.
And remember that time we tried out for the Rockettes and didn't get in because we kicked those two to death? Yeah, why?
Have you ever, what is the purpose of the Rockettes? They just dance and kick real high? Is that like their whole thing?
I have no idea.
Yep.
I mean, that's all I know about them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like old school,
Show business.
NBC kind of New York City, Hollywood.
I think they're very meticulously like in sync
groomed
with each other.
Yeah, they're exactly the same weight and height and sizes.
And they
Like
move at the
weird.
exact
they
same
are
time.
like identically proportioned women.
That's terrifying. They're probably robots at this point. And if that's the case, I mean, you could articulate those legs to kick like in all kinds of directions.
Was it young girls' dreams to be a rocket?
Apparently.
I mean, they would have to be if they're still Rockettes.
Well, or maybe it's more along the lines of like, and again, this sounds needlessly derogatory or denigrating, but like, I find it weird that you can actually get a job as a dancer. Like, that's a profession, but I don't ever encounter that in my life ever. Like, it's.
I mean, they're kind of like the New York version of Las Vegas showgirls.
Yeah.
That's kind of their point. They
Family friendly.
yeah.
What do you mean, like in a dancer, like not exotic, but just like
No,
in
not
general?
like
okay.
not like a
Just
not like
in-
a stripper. Like just
in
my
general,
job. I am
like-
a modern dancer, and that is my profession. Like you can go to school to get a degree into it.
Yeah.
What do you fucking do after it?
You just perform.
You teach
That's
more
all you do,
people
or
how
to
teach.
dance.
You teach or you perform.
Yeah.
That's the only two
Perform
things you
where?
can do.
I mean, you just get a job
Plenty of
working for Britney
places.
Spears or something, or
Yeah.
I mean, you could be in an ensemble of a play or like
Music
it-
videos.
yeah.
I don't know.
You-
I mean,
or go overseas and then you could probably make
There's lots of
so much
competitions.
money.
or on cruise ships or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm obviously and,
People
and
pay for
admittedly like ignorant as shit about that, but it's one of those things where it like blows my mind. Like today I got a sponsored ad on Facebook for like artisanal shoelaces. I'm like, well, fuck. Of course I did. $25 for these things.
I got a sponsored ad the other day for breast pump, and I don't know how I got on that list, but it was really weird.
Is it going to be one of those things where like Target knows you're pregnant before you do?
No, it wasn't Target.
That's
It was just a Facebook ad for a brand of breast pump.
Right. But it's one of those things where like the marketing algorithms have been like the apocryphal story, and I believe this is true. Somebody can look it up on Snopes, and they won't tell us whether it is or isn't. So I'm going to say that it is. But like some woman was living at home with her parents, and then like started getting mail from Target about like baby stuff. And she hadn't even taken a pregnancy test yet and turned out to be pregnant. It's just like something in the way that she was interacting with media and whatever triggered all of their shit to like send
That's
it her
possible.
way.
I mean,
It's so crazy it might be real.
Right?
and I don't care. I'm over it. Oh,
Sometimes targeted
I have
ads
two
are
Alexa
good.
devices in my house.
Yeah.
And
So
I
there's
love
just
it.
listening. Yeah.
Well, I also have the Fire TV stick, which also has an
Yeah.
Alexa in the remote.
Yeah, me
so
too, yeah.
like that's probably listening too.
it's listening all the time.
I mean, also your phone.
Yeah, the cameras
Yeah.
on all your devices.
Siri, Alexa,
I mean,
everybody's watching me.
You saw me turn all the mics off on these, but I bet it doesn't even turn off the mics. It just tells it like, don't react when you hear your name.
I mean, if what they're going to
Yeah.
use it for is targeting advertisement, whatever. Also, I don't do anything that is going to warrant any issue
Yeah, me either.
until.
I don't care. You can listen to me watch TV. cool.
I'm loving the fact that Tom is taking my usual place on this thing and getting into all of these fraught topics. I'm not even going to go there because that could sidetrack incredibly. And my house is wired for sound. I get it. Like they're listening to everything that I do, and a lot of it. So I had a coworker today who was working with a client that makes people who come to work for them, whether they are full-time employees or part-time employees or temporary employees, sign like a morality pledge. And he got a screenshot of it and let me see it. And it was like, no inappropriate dancing. Like it was literally, I mean, I'm reading through it. I'm like, dude, this is like a Tuesday night for me. Like I've violated just about every one of these things on every day since I've been 25 years old. Like, it's a bad scene. It's a real thing. Like,
what industry was this?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't want to give any more stuff.
Okay,
than that, but
I'll ask you off mic. But
it is interacting with adults though.
Okay.
So it still is just like no holding hands. It's a real footloose situation. It's like John Lithgow's character went completely bonkers.
I mean, because there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious if you don't abide those, then you can't work there.
Or you can, but you could get fired if you ever get found out. Like, that's the other thing. Is like some of the stuff is like so baseline, like I would consider normal, that it's like, where are you finding people that can do this? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that live way different lifestyles than I do. So the fact that they got beaten the shit out of them,
let's get back
by the
on
murder
this.
flies, they get offered to be a new team.
Because they should promise they were good.
Called the Wingnuts, which again, I can't tell if they were being intentionally lazy with these names. Like, I don't know.
Murder flies are okay, but wingnuts,
yeah,
kind of dumb. So once again, we see old Abner Double Deal. He's there.
Was he a recurring?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's been on
Tom Kenny.
Few.
Yes, he did sound familiar. So who was he? Obviously, he's like a promoter or whatever. What was he before?
He was her agent when she made the children's television show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
In the
fake Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah.
Yo Leela.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Kenny's wife was also in this episode as the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was Jill Talley?
Yep.
Oh, that's like, they're like a Nick Offerman, Megan Mullally power couple. Like, I love everything they do. They're so much fun. But their thing is they just become like, they're like losing every match until they figure out like, hey, everybody's like juicing on this nectar stuff. Their like willingness to just get into it right away just seemed a little weird too. They're like, tastes good. There we go. But when the trainer backed out of the room,
like backed into like a
like just into the wall,
like into the shadows.
I really like that as like a thing. But the jump cut. This is actually one of my favorite jokes in the show. Is such a throwaway thing, but the jump cut to Morbo where it's like, once again, Eternulax the Immortal, dead at age of 26.
I wrote that one down too. I thought that was really good.
That was beautiful. Did Linda seem a little weird or off?
No.
Both her look and voice sounded strange on this compared to, beyond just having like a different hairstyle. Like I wasn't even sure if it was her really.
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice either.
No? All right, maybe I was the one that was having an issue, but apparently the whole deal with this stuff is like it's just fast acting apparently because Leela and Amy get like ripped and super roided out like immediately, which is terrifying. Like
the second that Leela drank the nectar in the locker room, her
What'd she
voice
say?
went down. A guy could get used to this.
Yeah, like it was almost like Whippets or something where you get it. But
I'm gonna say like bodybuilders. Like I can't even imagine what that feels like to walk around that muscular.
I mean, like, again, way different lifestyle from my non-fitness seeking ass. But
Are you stiff?
not in the right places if you're doing steroids.
I imagine you're always sore.
Yeah, that's
Or,
what I
you
imagine.
just get used to soreness as your everyday because you have to work out so much to maintain that kind of mass.
And it's always like you have to like increase. Like you can't just do status quo. I mean, I guess you can if you just want to stay like fit, but
Awful strain on your muscles constantly.
I mean,
That's all you do for competition.
there was, several years ago, worked at a restaurant where there was a bouncer because it was like a bar restaurant and we'd get rowdy on the weekends when people had a little too much Miller Lite. And so he's like a bodybuilder guy, but like he literally couldn't, put his arms down. Like his chest and his biceps were so big. He's just,
And it's all, you have to have custom clothes. You can't because your proportions are not.
Zubas will fit anybody. And he wore them all the time. And eventually ended up going to jail for like manslaughter or something for beating the shit out of somebody at another club down in the Flats because I suspect he might have been a little roided up.
I just saw a listing for a AC/DC concert T-shirt on eBay, the size 8XL.
That makes sense for an AC/DC shirt.
Wow.
That's crazy though. I didn't even know they made shirts that big. Like when I was a kid, I had, since my dad was the manager of a Sam Ash when I was a kid, I had like an Ernie Ball strings, long sleeve T-shirt. It was the biggest T-shirt I've ever owned. It was a 4X. And it was like, it went down to like my shins and the sleeves were like,
basically,
that's how I wore it. The sleeves I just rolled up and it was like just thick.
I mean, I suspect even now you could probably wear that as a dress if you had the right belt.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm sure I could.
It's
a 4X shirt.
It's just crazy sometimes, but that's something that I mean,
it's like I could have cut it in half and sewn the two pieces to each other.
They still would have been too big.
And it would have been, it still would have fit me probably at that point. But yeah, each half of the shirt could have made one whole shirt wrapped around me.
8X.
Wow. Yeah.
That's huge.
Great. And it was very short.
Yeah, because I guess when you're fat, you don't really like get taller or longer. You just get
But it was
wider.
very short. Like...
It's a muscle shirt.
8X.
Yeah, 8X.
I think it goes up to 10.
What are the dimensions
It
on
goes
an
up to
8X
10?
shirt?
10X.
It goes up to 11.
Like men's big and tall stores.
I've had the pleasure of shopping at big and tall stores periodically. Like I ride the line in between the top end of your standards and your low end of big and tall, depending on how much fitness I have at any given time. So like I appreciate it, but sometimes the sizes are just like radically like it's not just it's like you were saying, like it's 8X, but also like super short. It's like when you see the stuff where it's like a 60-inch waist and then like a 30-inch leg. It's just like, okay, so this is basically made for Violet Beauregard after she turns into a blueberry. Like that kind of stuff always gets me. And I mean, I see people out in the wild, and I'm not even going to generalize like Walmart or the county fairs, like everywhere. This is just walking out in the public at large in obese America, which I'm part of. Like just the shapes that bodies sometimes take on, and then the clothing that is fitting that is just like there was a woman I used to work with. We just worked for the same place, just in a different department or whatever. I'd run into her every once in a while. She's maybe 5 feet tall, 5.5 feet tall, and like heavy. But then when you got to her waist, like her hips jutted out like another 24 inches on either side, where it was just like this perfect point where it just like shifted and went in a different direction. It was kind of like that's.
I work with multiple people who are like that. I work with someone who is not even 5 feet tall, but is shaped that way.
It's just crazy. I mean, like the human body, it's miraculous. Can do all kinds of things. Sorry. Wow, we're really zigging and zagging today. Leela and Amy are terribly unpleasant though on the nectar, but I like them being like, it's 100% natural, and then the professor's like, well, so are carrots. And then he smokes the carrot.
My toes.
Yeah. But the smoking of the carrot was interesting. It almost made me want to try that just to see if it would, like, you can make a bong out of anything, man, right?
Also, another question.
Yeah.
Injecting between your toes. It is a, anytime I've ever heard that, it's like heroin. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
An illegal drug thing. What's the point of it other than hiding the fact that you shoot up?
There's the hiding.
But why in between the toes?
Typically, you do it after your veins are so fucked up in all the obvious places that's like the only place left. Get into.
Because it's not very good. That's why I was asking, because medically, I'm wondering if
that's
a good place to...
Unless you're hiding, once all of that shit's collapsed out, you're like...
Nowhere else. Then you're going to find that. Okay.
By the way, an 8XL is a person with a 74 to 76 inch chest.
Wow.
I had to Google a size chart.
But that's like if you're looking at them like in a square, not just a bosom. That would be some over-the-shoulder boulder holder.
Circumference.
Yeah.
Wrapped around.
Yeah.
Well, your chest measurement
Area.
Does it go all the way around, or is it just from side to side?
You
go all
They
around.
wrap around. Just like they measure women's chests.
Mm-hmm. But it's called the bust.
Yeah.
That's where you get the 36 or whatever, then you got to add the cups to it because they're not going to.
For comparison, just a regular XL shirt is 46 to 48 inches in the chest.
Almost double.
Yeah.
Wow. Then it's not. It's like a weird.
10X is a 82 to 84 inch chest.
Wow.
That's as big as it goes.
That's like
Now my Amazon suggestions are going to be
that's the
really
size of like
weird.
an official flag that you fly on a.
We're offending a lot of large people.
Look, apparently there's enough of a demand that's a standardized thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a standardized thing.
It totally is.
8XL is not a standardized thing.
It's a size
That's a special order.
Yeah,
Unless
it's
you
a
go to
big and tall. That's a big and
Like,
tall
that's an
store
extra
Even
big
though,
size chart.
I think that's extreme.
Look, I've seen with my own eyes in various, full service.
We're just digging
That's
ourselves
like,
deeper
that's
right
like
now.
Can't
Let's
leave
move
the
on.
That's like can't leave the house.
I wash
large.
myself with a rag on a stick. Morbidly
Speaking of-
obese Bart is one of
Okay.
my favorite.
Now we're going off another
We gotta
tangent
get
because when I was watching this episode, right, on Hulu,
Yeah.
on like the suggested for you or whatever the first topic is that comes up on Hulu or whatever is, I can't remember the exact name of the show, but it was like having sex landed me in the hospital.
I have that too. I saw it today.
It
Wait,
must
wait.
have just came up.
Is this
Yeah.
like I should have died or I almost died, but it's about like banging yourself to almost death?
Well, something happened in a sexual situation that landed you in the hospital. So I just clicked on the info to see it's 2 seasons on there, right? But one of them is about a severely overweight person having sex with his girlfriend and throwing her through a wall accidentally.
Wow.
How many of those episodes are like, well, I was in the middle of something with somebody else's something and they came in and shot me? Like, that seems like the most obvious, right? What are you guys watching that this is coming up for you? Because I'm getting
I think it's just new on Hulu.
Yeah.
It just
Okay.
pops up in the on the first screen.
interesting.
Wasn't there a TV show, 1,000 Ways to Die, or something
Yeah.
like that?
It was
I loved
originally
watching
like
that.
a website, and then it was a book, and then it was a TV show.
It was on Spike TV, the
Yeah,
man's channel.
Gave me crazy
Spike TV.
anxiety because I watched a bunch of episodes in it in a row, and I was like, I'm gonna die.
The reenactments were the best, though. Best of any show.
I have to go look this up. These will be good to watch in my hotel rooms alone.
Anyway, speaking of television shows, this is a podcast about Futurama where we talk about episodes of Futurama.
Look, when we talk
In case
about
you're just joining us.
we talk about Futurama and not Futurama. It's in the description, so it's okay. But this is nice because we are a ramble tamble all over the place today. The thing about the nectar is it immediately makes Leela and Amy completely fucking abusive. They're just Kif is just getting the shit beat out of them. What is it? Is it she just wants to hit me with various chairs? And then when Fry's Leela's yelling at him, he's like, "What? I can't even get or what? Is it, oh shit! Is this all wrong?" Fry says, "I can't even get Leela to verbally abuse me."
Yes.
I mean, they seem so crazy lovesick over this thing. At what point would you be to a partner okay, enough already? Just from whatever substance they're indulging in. I don't know. Now I'm taking it into a dark place. Fuck. That wasn't the intention. It's just this seemed really fast and really over the top. Just hey, let's maybe go cold turkey off this shit. this new hobby you have that's completely consuming your life and making you an abusive piece of shit is maybe something you should give up, since you lived without it for all of your life until about 3 days ago.
Yeah, so they've got their championship bout with the murder flies coming up, and the murder flies have purchased all of the nectar from their source. So Leela and Amy can't get any. They go back to Planet Express, and that's when Kif just says, maybe possibly consider drinking a little less, maybe. And Professor brings up the fact that nectar is from Kif's home planet, which is what, Amphibios 9?
I think,
yeah.
Right. Which, again, like, doesn't he have experience with this, since it comes from his fucking planet?
Well, yeah, and then he goes like, oh, you mean it's Ocephalus nectar? Oh, dear. Oh, yeah, it's a rather remote region. Like, he kind of says... He realizes what they've been drinking, and he goes, oh, geez. And then Fry's like, hey, man, like, this might be our chance for some romance,
Our chance. Going to the source of their drugs.
For romance. Yeah.
I don't know. She was the Grand Conservator or something? What was that?
The Grand Butterfly Curator.
That's it. Okay.
She was also their officiant at the Fawn Row. I don't remember what they called her on that one.
I mean, she's like the Grand Poobah or Grand Witch or something.
Yeah, Grand something. She's like the Grand something.
I mean, at least she's got work in the off season.
She has 5 jobs. She has 5 different positions.
What are they? You say that as if you've got a list in front of you, so let's hear.
I don't have a list in front of me, God damn it.
God.
Where was it? Let's all be real quiet.
Okay.
Shh, Tom is thinking.
His iPad is thinking. And my Wi-Fi is not helping him.
She's the Grand Priestess,
That's
the Grand
it.
Funeral Director, the Grand Lunch Lady, the Grand Butterfly Curator, and the Grand Chairwoman of the planet's federal reserves.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So she has 5 jobs.
That's something that'll be coming up, I guess.
She's been in 5 different episodes. Kif gets knocked up a notch, Spanish Fry, The Beast with a Billion Backs, which was the movie.
Yeah.
Into the Wild Green Yonder, the other movie, and then this one.
I really liked her offhanded care about the thing. She's like, suck them, burn them out. As long as it's not butterflies, I don't care.
Yep.
Which is great. I mean, she's really focused on her thing.
Well, she says, I don't give a grand crap. Is actually her line. So,
Yeah.
which is great.
She says, oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say, she says my favorite line of the whole episode, which is, believe me, you'll rue the day you ever came to the Butterfly Reserve.
Yeah. I figured that was where I was going to.
Was it?
So she's warning them to not disturb the aggressive male who can be identified by his orange coloration and enormous butter junk.
This is where it just gets weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense with the title of the episode, but like, butter junk just makes it sound thoroughly distasteful.
Sounds like what the Pillsbury Doughboy has.
So like,
That's not the Michael Jackson.
oh my God. Did he ever
Another
duet?
butter junk.
Did he ever? Oh dear. Did he ever duet with the Pillsbury Doughboy? That would have been like during the 80s, like, cross marketing things that they like Michael Jackson and Pillsbury, or like I could see him doing something with the Noid from Domino's or something, like really.
They didn't need to jazz up the Noid. He was pretty cool on his own.
I know, and then
He even got a video game.
I know, which is I've never seen it. I've heard it's.
But so did the Red Circle for 7-Up, so I guess
What?
it's not a high bar. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like a Japanese only thing or something, or like?
No.
Oh, this is. Can you imagine working your whole life to try and become a video game designer? Be like, okay, you've made it, and now you're gonna do like the Coca-Cola logo.
Yeah.
Like, what's the story? I don't know. Here's some drugs. Figure it out. But like as they're going through looking for it, like Bender's got the hammer out. The hammer's already out. I got to smash something. And that giant male butterfly just like sprays him with stuff. Like it just seemed
That park ranger explicitly gave us a vague warning.
Right? And it's like, I don't know, that kind of body horror stuff was real Cronenberg-y and gross.
I had the same thought.
Yeah.
Especially at the end. It was very much like The Fly. And I was like, maybe that's what would have happened at The Fly if Gene and Davis didn't make such a big deal about it.
I know, right? It's Jeff Goldblum under there.
You just got to let him hatch.
So I like the fact that Kip's parents have both turned into like the swarms of flies, but they go to stay at his house and they're just like super uptight. Like everybody sleeps in separate rooms, no hanky-panky. But Leela is obviously like super sexed up over the hormone smell coming off of Fry. It was just that whole thing about leaving the door open.
But McGruff the crime dog says.
Oh, that's something that I kind of miss for the last 25 years or so, is like having been an adult, just not having to sneak around and like trying to get busy when your parents are upstairs or something. It's like there's a whole art to that, and it's like, I feel like it's a lost skill. It's kind of the same having a kid, I guess, but it's different because you just be like, go to bed. And then most of the time you listen.
But yeah, when you're the kid and not the parent.
Yeah. And then like there's getting caught as a teenager, which happened to me a few times. Not great. But then getting caught as an adult where it's just like, just disappointment is just not fun.
You have to make sure there's no rhythmic sound being able to be heard outside the room, because then everyone knows what's happening.
I mean,
like a bed squeaking.
If you're at that point, I think the really you're just beyond caring a lot of time, right? Like
You're in the throes of passion.
If the butter junk hormones are in your in your nostrils, like
butter junk.
Yeah, right? But boy, then it gets super sexy when the misdirect where Amy climbs into bed with Fry, and it's dark, but I'd have to think that he would know that he's been with both Amy and Leela.
Their bodies are different though now that they're all muscled up. So maybe he just doesn't know whose weird muscly body is
maybe
whose.
There's like grooming differences or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, he was game for whatever, and God bless him. But like, they didn't seem to even mind after a point. Like they were just both so worked up by that stuff. There's like, anything goes. But when they got back with Hermes, just sweet orgia of Georgia. I love that because it
Have you girls gone wild?
Yeah, like remember when that was a thing? Just bizarre. Like I think that was Hermes' only line in the whole episode. But
he has a couple.
But it dropped in well. But that's sort of like their who's it? Zoidberg was the one who's like, but Amy and Leela aren't butterflies, right? Like, still the doctor for the humans doesn't get this stuff, but like that's their rock bottom, is the fact that they're both overwhelmingly attracted to Fry. That's what makes them need to stop. Not anything else has been going on. Like, and again, that kind of plays back into
rock
like
bottom.
the whole but the whole thing with like Leela and Fry being a couple all this time, like. There's not anything ostensibly wrong with her being uncontrollably attracted to him, other than it being like logistically difficult.
The professor says the only way to end this madness is for the ladies to quit cold turkey, and Fry says, whoa, let's not shock their system. Maybe they could go warm turkey.
Does anybody know the etymology of cold turkey, where that came from? Just I don't know what the history of the phrase is, but
probably something where somebody a million years ago thought that eating cold turkey would make you quit smoking or something. I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, if you stuffed your face full of turkey, it would be hard to smoke. But then you could try and smoke the turkey too. I could see somebody trying to do that.
Maybe it's when you go bowling and get 3 strikes in a row and get a turkey.
Well,
but you don't wear any socks.
Mental Floss says one suggested origin is that the phrase,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The phrase comes from the similarities between a drug addict in the throes of withdrawal and a turkey's carcass. Both can be clammy, pale, and covered in goosebumps, which might have led someone to point out that a user who suddenly quit looked like a cold turkey.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like that
too
either.
much.
There's got to be a better story.
Yeah.
You look like a turkey carcass.
That's just one. I guess I don't know. That's just one one root of the idiom.
So while they're withdrawing, I mean, they tie them down and keep them from having any more nectar. But Fry then starts getting all caterpillar and weird.
Mm-hmm. I like how he just like
flops on the ground.
I don't even know what word to use. He caterpills his way out of the room. I don't. He's kind of like doing the worm, but he's like inchworming out of the room.
Yeah, and it really is one of those things where like, total misdirect and like we got to wrap this up. So let's just have him like, I don't know, he'll turn into something when he gets blasted by that. Like you would have thought. Number one, they knew that the male caterpillar or the male butterflies were dangerous. They knew they were dangerous because of the hormones when they got all swollen with the butter junk. You would think that someone would have some experience with it to say, if you get sprayed by that stuff, you're going to turn into a caterpillar. It's never mentioned. Nobody thinks of it as a thing, and clearly they all know that it's going on. So I don't know. That just seemed like sort of a lazy way to move the story along. But I guess in the 9th season, everything gets a little lazier, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... Leela says they got to get this party ended, and they basically just do a rehabilitation montage for about 15 seconds where they just show Amy and Leela getting over the nectar.
They show up to get their asses kicked.
Yeah, Amy apologizes to Kif for making out with Fry so loud and often.
I mean, he takes it graciously, but again, he's a kind of a pushover, like... She was clearly not in control of her faculties, but he also tried to get her off that stuff before it got to that point, and she just wanted to be abusive. So,
yep. So meanwhile, we see Fry in the other room, and he's pupating, and that's like a big dramatic bum bum bum.
Because he hangs himself off of the wing of the ship, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like he's like regurgitating the silk out. Like,
is that how butterflies do it?
Mm-hmm.
Either it's got to come out of the mouth or the butt.
I thought they just collected it as they went on with their journey.
They stole it from silkworms.
Little mud here, piece of leaf here, and just created that.
Nope, it's barf.
But
pretty much, it's barf.
It's barf that turns into a fine fabric thread.
Magic barf.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess that's how silk is made. I've never really thought about until now, like how much fucking silk you would need to make silk fabric. That's fucking crazy.
That's why silk is so expensive. And most of the time when you find something that's advertised as silk, like a pillowcase or silk sheets, it's polyester.
What?
Yeah.
Bullshit. That's some Bezos bullshit.
Also, this is where I was saying before, from the time Fry feels like caterpillar
Yeah.
to the end, this is where I like the episode.
I mean, it was I think, is it Zoidberg again who goes, he's even more beautiful than before? Like, when he comes out, he's like mindless, where he's just like floating and whatever, and then because Leela and Amy have now gotten off of the nectar, but the other murder flies have not. Like, they just start going after him, too. And he's in full butterfly form then. And they're just like, I mean, it turns into a real weird scene. Yeah. Which I think the announcer says, doesn't there? Something like words to that effect. Yeah,
he says, so sorry for allowing this lurid sex act and taint a delightful day of family-friendly violence. I fucked it up so bad. But
which is, again...
It was pretty funny.
Pointing a mirror at society where it's like, violence is fine for kids, but not like anything sexual at all. I mean, it's like, I don't want to watch The Deuce with my daughter, but like, I mean, maybe as a cautionary tale as she gets older. I don't know. But it's still like, she just gets weird about like even cartoon violence still. So it's just a whole thing. It's a real weird scene.
I feel like, especially now, society has a much different relationship with violence than it used to.
I mean, because people get murdered en masse in places like schools and churches and stuff on a somewhat regular basis, or just, like, there's reasonable people that clearly think that's a fucking horrible thing. And then there's people that are just like, yeah, but, I mean...
Yeah, it's also excluded from children's media. now.
Yeah, I guess
where
that's
it
true.
Used to be not so.
Like you don't get the Tom and Jerry cartoons where they're just like, here's an anvil, whatever the fuck that is, and then like smashing each other over the head with it.
Oh, you mean here's an anvil dropping on this black-faced character?
I mean, you can go bring Bosco into it if you want. But yeah, exactly. And for all of I mean, and that being said, I'd rather watch Tom and Jerry than Caillou. Whiny,
That
messed
bald
up
kid.
Canadian.
They're also for different age.
I don't know. Tom and Jerry was basically silent film, you know?
Well, all cartoons were just for kids from 0 to 13.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
Back in the day.
whatever. And then you had to get a job and get married and start having kids of your own.
Like a good American.
Yeah. But some of it, I mean, I guess, yeah, like we talked about Yo Gabba Gabba briefly. Right? Like, that show was great. And it's just like, let's dance and have fun and listen to music and whatever. Here's a guy that looks kind of like RuPaul in an orange jumpsuit with a giant conductor's hat. It's awesome. And it was.
Yeah. My siblings liked Teletubbies when they were little, so that one.
I was just
that
about to
was rough.
compare Teletubbies to Yo Gabba Gabba
Yeah.
in
Teletubbies
a
was
way.
hellish.
Do you think that, I mean, really? Do you
No,
think they're
no, I
similar?
mean, no, I mean, when you said, hey, let's do this, blah, 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 like,
Yeah.
just be crazy, I'm just thinking, hey, let's have these weird creatures in these, and have this
Weird
baby
alien
and a
babies.
son, like, that are just, it's, all it is just, like, wholesome
Except for Thomas the Tank Engine, which had a
No,
lot
I
of
mean,
very
no.
white supremacist
Teletubby,
messages.
except for the one that carried around the purse, because
Have
they
you-
were mad at him.
They
Where
had
are
no
you gonna
genders.
Where are you gonna put your stuff?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I want to be alive in a time where males can carry around a purse.
You
and
carry
it's
a purse
okay.
around now, Tom.
I would
You just-
love it.
You know what you could get? A satchel.
I know
Indiana
plenty
Jones.
of men
I
who
could.
carry bags.
Yeah.
A satchel. I mean, but that's there's just something about just having a bag, a handbag. I
Be
could
the
do
change
it.
See, really,
you wanna see.
I hate carrying around a purse.
I
Yeah.
eliminated a wallet. Now I just have like a money clip.
I mean, I would just as soon have a satchel or a big purse like that before I had like a handbag.
I
Because
have one giant wallet that I like to take if I'm going out and I don't want to carry a purse. Like if I go to a concert or something, I have a giant wallet.
I
that
just don't want something I
got a
gotta
strap
keep
that
in my
goes
hand.
on my hand.
Yeah. If
I
you
bought
can,
a fanny pack, dude.
Yeah,
Changed
nice.
the game.
okay, so
Yeah, actually, really, fanny
packs.
packs just need to be.
Except
People wear them across
that
their
was just
chest
gonna
now,
say
so
you
it doesn't
can't.
look lame.
Dude, I think it looks even more lame.
Well-
Just put it on your waist like a normal
That's
person.
what I do. Accentuate my...
I mean, the proper
Best
way to wear
feature.
a fanny pack is turned around behind you. That's why it's called a fanny pack.
Well,
unless you're in the UK.
yeah,
you wanna
unless you're
get
in the UK.
But like, okay, so just fanny pack logistics because I'm admittedly ignorant about this. Where's the latch for the fanny pack? Is it like next to the pouchy pouch or is it in
You
the
can
back?
move it.
Oh, it slides around.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that would be the thing. If you're wearing it in front and you have the latch in back, it's like, hey, take my stuff. And if you have the pouch in the back, then it's like, hey, take my stuff. So how do you balance that out?
I don't think anyone has ever thought like, wow, that person wearing a fanny pack has money and I'm going to take it.
I don't know. I'm
Fanny
always
packs are like a rich and famous.
I'm always thinking about crimes, and they totally
Well-
are. Like old people, you know, walking around with like, I've got my social security card and my wallet and my passport and my American Express traveler's checks all in my fanny pack. Bye, you know.
Maybe.
I mean, you got your tote bag that you bring every week. I just like having my hands free because you never know when you might need to like have some kung fu
Dart.
action grip or something. Like running with a purse, bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
mine's like a little backpack.
when I did, I don't think I've told this story on the podcast yet, but when I passed out at that Sebastian Bach show
Oh,
2
yeah.
months ago,
Yeah.
I had my purse on me crossbody, like going across my chest, so it wouldn't just slip off of my arm. So that just coincidentally, I had my phone in my purse. My purse was closed and it was diagonal across my chest. So when I passed out and they carried me out of the fantasy and out onto the sidewalk, it was just hanging. It was like hanging off of my chest as like two dudes, like firemen carried me out of the fantasy
And that's what
and
you'd
put me on
want.
the
That's
ground.
perfect.
They kept with you.
Heat stroke. It was like it was sold out show. It was like 110 degrees inside.
What happened? It was Sebastian Bach.
Yeah,
She got the vapors.
it was. Yeah, I got the vapors. No, I
She hit that
I
high
went
note.
to the bar. I went to the bar to get water. Luckily saw my friend at the bar, and then I threw up on the bar. She caught me, and I actually just heard this story from someone who saw it happen like 2 nights ago. I had no idea what happened to me in between the time that I was at the bar and outside. I was like passed out, like ping-ponging against my friend's arms, and she was just keeping me upright until somebody like came and grabbed me and took me outside.
What a good friend.
I know, she's great.
What they also didn't tell her until recently is they brought her up on stage and marionetted
No,
her
that's not true.
during a Phantom of the Opera number. It was
No.
that would have been fun though.
No, it wouldn't.
I mean,
I
not
went
for
to,
you.
No, I went to the doctor the next day, and she was like, "Yeah, heat stroke, dude." Like, she was like, "You should have called an ambulance."
No
She said, yeah, Sebastian Bach, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Look.
anyway, it was pretty close to the end of the show. But speaking of the end of the show,
Yeah.
we are at the end of the episode here, where
Fry grew all
Fry
these
and-
weird
He
insect
just
parts.
Yeah.
he just hatches out of himself.
Yeah.
Like, did you find that to be disturbing or like?
No,
that
I
seemed
loved
like-
it. I thought it was hilarious because they like, oh yeah, he grew all these weird insect parts, and there's no brain function, and then all of a sudden he cracks open, and he's Fry, and he's still just like,
it's like, bleh.
and then they're just like, oh, he's back to normal,
Yeah. Look, he lost the strange insect parts. He's back to normal.
And they all go,
end it, and it
"Yay!"
ends, and
Yeah,
right there,
it's just over.
yeah.
I mean, so that almost suggests that the cocoon is like a sentient being all in and of itself. I don't know.
Ooh,
There's
call
lots
the
of
X-Files.
things. Right? It's like the
It was like
Well,
a-
it's
so many directions.
space nectar, so we don't know what happens to space butterflies.
They try and hump when the butter junk gets all over the place.
Well, they just knew if they didn't show Fry back to normal, that it would be a problem if they went to the
Yeah.
next episode and he was normal Fry again.
I mean, there's a lot of continuity shit that they just kind of give up on, right?
Yeah, but Fry turning into a butterfly, that's not just something you can't.
Unsee.
That's not something you can just like move on from without addressing like, hey, remember that time you turned into a butterfly? Yeah, how'd that end up?
It's like my favorite part about soap operas, where it's just like one day it's one actor, and the next day like now the character of such and such will be played by so and so, and it's like they'll never speak of it again. It just
Also-
totally Armin Tanzarian it.
What's weird is next episode, Fry's barely in it.
Really,
Oh yeah,
It's a Hermes-centric episode.
I like those. Good,
this
because
one-
I think we could maybe agree that this one kind of a.
Eh,
I mean, it was
I didn't-
fine, but not.
I like it enough. I don't know.
I'd give up until Fry becomes a caterpillar
Yeah.
3 out of 10 stars.
And
Afterwards, I'd give it on 7 out of 10.
Okay, so it averages out to like a 5,
5 out of 10.
4.5 or
It
something.
had 2 Deus Ex Machinas in it.
Yeah.
He turns into the butterfly to save them
Yes.
from falling in the lava, and then he hatches from being a butterfly because they don't want it. It's like a funny way to just be like, well, that's sorted.
We're back to normal. Okay.
it's
And
a
technically,
cartoon.
Fry gets laid a
Everyone carry
lot
on.
in this episode.
I mean, I don't know if he gets laid a lot. He gets fondled and kissed a lot.
It's
I
alluded
think they
to.
apply it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was hoping to get laid a lot.
Well, he mated as a butterfly, but I don't know if that counts.
Oh, so then they don't even follow up on that. Like, I wonder what happens to the murder flies if they got knocked up by Fry as a.
Probably not.
It's horrific to think about.
Probably look like little Jeff Goldblum babies,
Yeah.
but with. Oh,
Because
but,
they would have to lay the larva.
but I wonder if the nectar. Oh, see, so many questions. This could almost be more interesting.
We need
but
to
it
get a
won't be.
butterfly expert on this show.
We should. Does Becca work with anybody at the?
I don't think she's ever seen a butterfly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure she's seen a butterfly in her life,
Let's call.
but not at.
They
her
have
work.
like the butterfly habitat at the zoo. Let's just call them and be like, we'd like to, and be like, oh, we're from Idea Stream, and then we just invite them over here and like,
And then talk about butterfly junk, butter junk.
like, I don't know what that is. Their proboscis reaches in and sucks the nectar. I know. We want to know about the nectars. The nectar. That'll be a whole thing.
So, how hung are monarchs?
Are they really the kings of the phylum, if you will? Yeah. Wow. Anyway, I'm sure we could ramble some more, but we're trying this new early record time. You've got some crazy birthday plans out there.
Yeah, not crazy birthday plans. I'm just going to have a drink and some food at LBM.
No Sebastian Bach.
Right. Oh, their drinks and food are incredible.
I love
Good
LBM
choice.
so much.
Yeah.
LBM.
I have to bleep them.
I'm sure we have talked about LBM before.
I know we
not
haven't.
believed them. We definitely have.
The best and only Viking metal bar in Cleveland. That's not to say that it's the best because it's the only, but it's pretty great.
Poppin' theme nights.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So thank you for surviving this roller coaster ride, Sam. Do you have anything that you'd like people to find you on the internet?
Yes, please. I'm on.
Or in person, but the internet's probably safer.
My address is on the internet. You can find me. My screen name's usually "Are You My New Dad?" I run the show Improv Deathmatch. That's a monthly show at May Halls. We're going to be back in January of 2020. November is our last show of 2019.
Was that in the main room?
Yep. I also do a bunch of improv, acting stuff, so just follow me online. I'm always posting my next gigs.
Lovely. Yeah. That sounds like fun. If you keep inviting Michelle to be a part of these things, I will probably never see them because she has a habit of always doing it when I'm gone. So I feel bad that I can't support those because there's like the Public Access 3000
Well,
thing.
that's the Voltron show that...
Yeah.
That's how we met.
That's how we met.
Perfect.
So we both did sketches.
And nobody died.
Not that we know of.
Or
that
would share about. Now.
Yeah, it's when it's recorded. It's there for posterity's sake unless Tom bleeps it out.
I'm just going to randomly throw bleeps in.
I've been suggesting that since the first episode, so I like that. Making a word salad of the things that we talk about would be just a little bit more coherent that way, I think. If you really pull out the stops.
I'm going to start bleeping out my name at the beginning.
Go and do it backwards on every episode and then republish. It'd be fantastic. Completely retcon yourself out of it. We can be found on the internet at slurmcast.com where all of our episodes and links to our TeePublic shop are probably...
Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore? Did it stop being a thing?
Here's what's happening. I can't figure it out, but our RSS feed gets fucked up when I try to
put that
link in there. So go to TeePublic and search for Slurmcast if you want to buy a T-shirt. But I think they're
circling the drain or something.
We haven't got an email from them in quite a while.
They used to send like 5 a day.
I know.
It's because they used to send you emails every single day about updating the link or whatever.
And I did, and it was working for a while, but then lately, when I publish it, it did a warning. Kept doing it, which is fine, but
whatever.
I'm just so
that sounds like work.
If you want a T-shirt, email me. I probably got one in my closet.
Tom's got some markers. You can just draw it. So slurmcastpod@gmail.com, 216-438-1077 is our phone number for voicemails and texts. Slurmcastpod on Instagram and Twitter, Slurmcast on Facebook, rate and review, something nice on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and whatever. I don't know. I'm still trying to get back in the rhythm of this because we're a little herky-jerky, but it's coming. So enjoy this episode, and then we'll talk at you again soon. Probably.
Bye.
Bye.